I mean, for next week at least, we might be able to make that a subject like when Geeks Craft or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
You gotta get a hold of them, ask them anyways.
All right, so we're live on YouTube.
All right.
I gotta make sure. My phones are like, hey, making Geeks Podcast is live on YouTube.
Give me one quick second.
Yep, same.
Notification squad. All right.
What's up, everybody listening? We'll get started in just a moment here.
We're going live to All Walk Array. Ready, go.
Do it live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Making Geeks podcast. We are the podcast for makers, dads, and geeks. This is episode 187.
It is.
Yep. So we're kind of flying light tonight. We're missing one of our hosts, who is on vacation for the next 2 weeks, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 to 3 weeks. It's unclear.
You know, for weeks he has talked about this trip and
jet
this
setting,
vacation.
I guess I don't.
I just always
listen.
have this like innate assumption that Josh will always be there, no matter what happens. Josh will always be there, and it's weird that he's not here.
It's
I always
weird
have
talking
this
about like a
assumption that
mythical
every
creature.
Thursday I'll jump on here and it's like I'll see all your faces, all the time.
But no.
But no.
So how you guys been this week?
Pretty good. Trying to get out of the Groundhog Day cycle, but it's tough.
Yeah. About a month or so ago, my wife and I made kind of this, not a deal, but kind of this plan to get out of the house and go somewhere like every Wednesday of every week. So we've been going hiking a lot in just different places, and that's kind of been our kind of like weekly cycle of getting out of the house and still trying to abide by all of the protocols in place. And we've been lucky enough to be going to places at times when there's not a whole lot of people, so there's very minimal exposure, and we have our masks and just trying to live life still.
Right. Give some memories for your kids, right?
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is their prime of their childhood, so that's why I've been thinking about it too. Like, it's easy to get in the doldrum of like, all right, I'm just gonna sit this out for a year, no problem. You know, like if I have to, like do the mask thing, you know, stay in my little zero window basement, hunker down. But, you know, this is like Grant's, you know, he just turned 6 in June. Like these are his like prime memory forming, you know, personality defining moments, right? And from then until like 18, right? So like it seems like once you reach a certain age, it's just another year, but for them, it's like another year is a huge, you know, 1/5 of their existence.
Yep.
So
those leaps and bounds are
Yeah.
a lot more profound when you're younger.
Yeah, exactly. I remember as a kid, like thinking something a year away is like an eternity. Like, how can you even plan for something a year out? Like, it's like communicate with Moses or something. It's just bananas. But,
Yeah, I remember one of those like at-home science experiments where you can make an egg bounce, and you had to take an egg and soak it in vinegar in the sunlight for like a week. And I was like, a week? That's so long. I don't want to do that. That's forever. I'm gonna have to wait a week for this thing to. Yeah, my perceptions have changed drastically.
Right.
I'm like, only a week? Oh crap. Oh.
Yeah, so I don't even know where the first part of the week went. I mean, it's already Thursday, and yeah, it's
I
weird.
don't know. I had last weekend free in a way. Like, Catherine took the kids to visit her parents and sister that are a couple hours towards the coast in North Carolina. And she hadn't seen them since all this stuff started. And it was just myself and my husky, Loki. We were just batching it from Thursday through Monday, and it was. I don't know. I think I have something wrong with me psychologically, where I'm completely content being in a basement with no windows like the entire time. I don't know.
I
Like
feel the same way. I love being alone.
I'm not sure what it is. Granted, I miss them. Like having them around every day since like the end of February for every day.
So I
Was
Am
great,
Legend
but-
is like your ideal apocalypse.
Yeah, that
Just
sounds
you and your
great.
dog.
Minus
Yeah.
the zombies.
What's the problem here? As long as I have internet, I'm good. Now, if I didn't have internet, then that might be a problem. But
You'd always have the movie store down the street.
oh, that's true. Yeah,
Mannequin set up head everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was nice. It was. I played a lot of Minecraft. The Nether update dropped, and I basically just dove into that super hard. I hadn't played a game that much in a long time. It was good. I needed it.
Yeah, I think you built everything you can in
Yeah,
another. Every time I jump on there, I'm like, what happened? Oh, there's this new thing, netherite. That's oh yeah, I already got all the armor. See you. He's standing there, all decked out in complete netherite, and I'm just like,
Wes is like the guy in Warcraft where he hits max cap within like 12 hours of the game being released.
I never considered myself being that guy, but I guess.
At least with Minecraft.
Yeah, so far, like, I'm running out of mechanics that are new that I haven't tried yet. Which is, I mean, there's a ton of stuff to do in that game. Not saying I haven't built everything possible, because that's infinite, but like all the little game mechanics that are unique, I've explored probably 95% of them.
yeah.
Speaking of things that are new, I put out a new video this week.
You did.
Yeah.
It
Comments
was pretty
were-
rad.
Thank you. Comments were up for all of about 30 seconds before they got turned off again. So I put out a cardboard, say rad themed from the 1986 BMX movie of a cardboard pinball machine from a company called Pinbox 3000. And it was a lot of fun putting together. I actually might do a follow-up video of it, just focusing more on the gameplay, because there was very little of it being played that I showed. Most of it was just putting it together, and it's almost more like a model
Yeah.
than a
Yeah.
pinball machine that I made it. And as I was doing it, there was like 4 or 5 more things I wanted to do with it, but I needed to actually finish it. So I might talk about that in the follow-up video. And I have a second one that I want to make. I don't know if I'm going to make a full video on it, but I have like a lot of other ideas for what I want to do and include with it.
Have you ever tried the Nintendo Labo stuff?
No.
That's what I thought of the entire time. Like, Sean would love that stuff. Like, if you dug that. Yeah, you have a Switch in the family?
Doesn't Labo
Yeah.
have a pinball?
I don't think so. But I think they're in clearance a lot of places now. If you can find some, I would recommend
I
them.
thought about it. I mean, for the price that I've seen it, maybe I'll pick it up, and it'll be worth experimenting for a week or two.
Not only during the construction part, but just like there's a lot of software creativity in it too. They give you like a sandbox to play in,
Okay.
so you can like take all the sensors, inputs, and outputs of the system, like the controllers. You can link up, up to 4 pairs of Joy-Cons. I forget what it is exactly, but like a lot of stuff, and you can do a lot of things. And they give you like all the connections in the software, like to link this input to this output, and it's almost like visual programming in a way.
Okay.
Like, it's neat. It's definitely worth investigating.
I think I'll check it out. If I could tear my kids away from the Switch, because that's kind of the...
It'd be a good summertime thing to do, like when it's raining or too hot out, or I don't know. Just even I was entertained not having a kid help me with it or doing it with Samantha, because I sort of like appreciated the engineering from a creation standpoint of how they designed all this stuff to put together and lock together in a certain way, or the way they use rubber bands in ways that I never expected with just simple cardboard. And like you said, like you were amazed how rigid the thing seemed when you're
Yeah.
like, oh, it's made out of cardboard. What a flimsy piece of junk. But you're like, wow, this is really something here, right? And that
Yeah,
felt the
it's
same
solid.
way as well. And I was wondering if you had considered investigating or going down the rabbit hole of how to do the stuff that you did without using like hot glue or super glue, like actually using mechanical folding, like how they had you assemble the whole thing with like the tabs and
Yeah.
the slots and all that. Like how would you recreate the curve and all the little pieces and like flat pack like they did, you know?
Yeah, I thought about it, and it could be done.
Yeah,
It'd be something that I'd want to design something like in Fusion or something, or even like an Illustrator and laser cut it. Though it's not something
sure,
I'd want to
right.
really do by hand. And they kind of already set the standard for how to do it, so I'd kind of have to just follow their lead,
Hmm.
and it's possible. That actually goes down the path of the DIY kind of pinball thing that I want to do to begin with.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'm more interested in some of the other mechanisms that I want to make that replicate a typical pinball experience, like something like one of the most popular things in pinball is multi-ball, where you have more than one pinball on the playfield at a time. So I was coming up with ideas of, well, how would I do that without any kind of, traditional mechanism? And there's a couple of different things I came up with, but I didn't implement them here.
Right.
I started having limited room on the playfield, and I had a very specific vision in mind of how I wanted it to look. And for this project, that came first before all the functionality, which is a little bit backwards for pinball, but I wanted the specific look of it.
And you wanted to integrate like some Arduino like kind of functionality too at some point, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have taken it to kind of to that level. And something I do want to eventually do, but yeah, I think it's going to take a back seat to 10 other projects I have to kind of finish now. But I got that one done, so that's another one in the list. Yep, thanks.
Like to integrate even like vibration motors, like when things happen, like have the whole table shake, or like emulating the buzzing of the different mechanical components in the big systems. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, that would be kind of neat. I'd
like a force feedbacky kind of rumbling, like when it hits certain parts.
And what's really nice is a lot of the current electronic components are so small they would integrate really easily. Like you get tact switches or limit switches, those could really easily trigger a like a rumble motor or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I swear there's somebody on Instagram that I've seen recently that is building a pinball machine, not like full size, but like pretty sizable, and has the Joy-Cons as the triggers and whatnot. And I wish I could remember who it was that I saw building this thing, because I think it's exactly what we're talking about in terms of like integrating like Labo stuff.
It makes sense because it has the vibration and the controllers. You could trigger that.
Yeah.
You can have the board being like the marquee or the screen. What do you call, was it the display board that
usually like the back glass is
the
usually,
back glass. Thank you. I was looking. I lack the terminology for this.
The marquee I think is usually like the laminated part at the top, and you have back glass and
back glass with all the stats and the numbers.
Yep.
I'll have to find that and send it to you, because it's really cool. I didn't pay, I guess, too much close attention to it because I thought it was like another Nintendo Labo thing. That's why I was like, oh yeah, Nintendo Labo has a pinball machine. It totally makes sense with the Switch. But I guess not. I guess it's something that he like customized and built just to have his own pinball machine. I'll find that for you and send it to you.
All right, sounds good. Donovan, you got something new going on, don't you?
Well, it's not new, but it's still going on.
It's new to all your new followers on Reddit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I've been trying to do all the preliminary work for that when this behemoth of a video is going to come out for my Playhouse, that I can get as many eyes on it as possible. And so in trying to want to hook people right now for something that's going to come later, I went onto Reddit today and took one of my progress pics of the outside of the Playhouse and just posted it on a couple subreddits like woodworking and Zelda, and I built a thing. I built something. I made something. I made something. And walked away from it and checked it as we were sitting down, and it is blown up. I mean, for me, it's blown up. It's gotten a lot of traction, which is surprisingly cool and encouraging for me. to think that this may do really well. So, yeah, I'm excited. A lot of followers. I went from like a couple thousand karma to like 13,000 karma in an hour. I'm like, whoa, it's amazing.
Did you try doing that same thing with any of your the Lego Ninjago weapons?
Yeah, I did it with all the Lego Ninjago weapons.
But you didn't get the same type of response?
I didn't post like progress pictures. I always waited till it was over and I had the video done, because a lot of these subreddits, you have to have the project completed in order to post. Like the DIY subreddit, which is apparently like the holy grail of getting your stuff into, the one that everybody wants to get into. You have to have it completed with steps and process and pictures and all this other kind of stuff. And they don't like just videos because they consider it self-promotion spam. Yeah, spam basically. And so I try to find, other subreddits where I could. And I've done it for all of my projects in the past, and none of them have done any better than like 30 up likes or whatever. But this one on both woodworking and the Zelda subreddits have gotten several thousand, which is cool. So this project is obviously doing better than anything I've done in the past.
Gotta leverage that somehow.
I know. At least doing it this way.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it feels like the progress pick is the reason for the interest and the fact that it isn't finished. At least that's the way I feel about it, because I came across it. I was on Reddit, and I came across it, and I saw it. I'm like, wait, oh, like I know that guy.
Yeah.
And I think it caught my attention more because it's not done, and it's not like all the answers aren't there.
True.
It
makes it more like attainable feeling.
Right. It's not resolved yet, and the fact that you can still see all the wood and everything before anything's painted. I think is really interesting because I could see the structure now.
Do you think that might be a more useful strategy to make people feel more like they're more invested in your project? Is that you actually post? I know we do this on Instagram from time to time, but more cognizant like effort into showing like behind the scenes and like getting people like locked into its progress. So then you have like a dedicated base for each project. They're like following it from its inception to. Because that sort of runs counterculture to a lot of the makers where they're like, myself included, where you keep it like close to the chest until the end, you show it, here you go. And then like, I've done that a lot, but I also had posted a couple preview posts for the Mario bedroom. And I had similar, like from a inspirational standpoint, like where I felt like I was hitting like a lull in the making of it. You're like, how much longer can this project go on? And then you get this little boost of energy from all the people like, oh, wow, like it's the first time they had seen it, where you're like in the weeds and you've been looking at this thing for however long. I don't want to say how long for a lot of my projects, but they, I don't know, it's a boost for you, myself personally, when that happens. And I'm sure you felt another energy boost, like currently while you're in it, like, oh, okay, now I've got some more people are interested in it, that's not the primary goal, but it can't not help, and then you have all these people that are sort of already bought into the concept and they feel more of an attachment to the project. So they're more willing to follow your links to see, oh, you remember this post that I posted, of the progress that you guys were so into? Well, here's the video, and have a picture of it and have a link to like all the different things. Like here's the tutorials, here's the plans, here's the video. And if you like projects like this, I do them all the time, that sort of thing.
I mean,
I'm sorry, Donovan, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like it's like you said, like I've always used Instagram for that.
Yeah,
that's been my outlet for all the behind the scenes, to show the progress, to get the interest,
Same.
To get the fan base.
Yeah,
and Reddit, at least up until this point, has always been for the finished product and showing people what I did rather than what I'm doing. But trying to try something different so that to do as much as I can to make sure that this does well, I figured, hey, what if I just show people that, hey, this is what I'm building, this is where I'm at, and see how it does. And it did. It's done really
Isn't there an element in the game though where like the guys are working on your house too? Like that's a mechanic of the game, right? So it's not instantly done. You're like waiting, and the lazy construction people that are annoying, like you're watching the progress. So it's almost like a game mechanic in that game. It's like super meta at this point,
I have a feeling Donovan has something planned for that in his.
You
his
should have those
video.
characters pop up in the video.
Well,
Like
it's so funny. Like half of the maybe not half,
Yeah.
but like a lot of comments that I've gotten are from people that are like, "Wait, he has a house in the game?"
I read those.
It's like, yeah,
yeah,
it
did
was
you
a
play it?
side quest.
Yeah,
You didn't have to do it, and even when you started it, you had to like, it was
it
several
was long.
missions
Yeah.
to complete it, and so much wood, so much lumber.
I think there's something to the progress pick thing. I think it entices in a really interesting way, especially if you see something and you think, well, how is that going to turn into this other thing?
Mm-hmm.
And like from your the Mario bedroom, the one picture that I remember seeing out of all that is the sculpted Mario head.
Yeah.
Like the in process of that, and thinking, God, how is that going to end up looking, like a finished product?
Yeah.
And is the kind of thing that gets me going back. Like, well, I want to see what the next step. Let me see what progress has been made, on this thing.
You can also engage them. Sorry, go ahead. Like
No, good.
to like say, hey, what else would you do from this point? What else should he? Like I saw some of those comments, like people suggesting all kinds of cool ideas, and that gives them another engagement. Like they're like, oh, you could also post in your progress post like, what other ideas do you have at this point? Or here's my other plans. Don't show all your cards, but like sort of fish them some of the ideas. Like see if you get a nibble with more engagement for them, because it helps your posts both on Reddit and YouTube.
And I don't know if you can do this on Reddit because I'm not as professional as Wes, but like now that I have the preliminary progress pick, I think I can do carousel picks. I hope I can do carousel picks. So it's like, oh, remember this? Here's where I was.
Yeah. Might depend on the subreddit, but
yeah, be able to show, hey, this is where I was, this is where I'm at now, like a progression, because people have been asking for progress picks or picks on the inside, or it's like, well, I'm still working on that. So
I think you should be able to put an edit to that original post and then post the additional things after that. I've seen some subreddits do that if you can't do the carousel thing.
Or just maybe like make up my own little collage of like then and now kind of things. But just like you said, try to find a way to keep hooking people into the process.
Sometimes it's a requirement that you have to. It depends on the subreddit again. Like they'll make you link to an Imgur page. Like on DIY, like I think they prefer like an Imgur page where it's like all the screenshots are stacked vertically and you have all the text detailing. You could also have it in that sort of framework where instead maybe not in Reddit slideshow, maybe you could use Imgur as the platform and have your progress going down. And you can also put hyperlinks in those as well. So that's what I did for the Mario bedroom. Like they had the requirement or the restriction where you couldn't post a video, but I took like 100 and something pictures, and like when you go to the Imgur link, it says like at the top like how many pictures are in this album, and my first post I said, I think I actually had an image with text on the image like in Photoshop, and I said, you can actually go through all these 100 and some pictures, or you can watch the video. It'll save you some time. And so that was like the first hyperlink there. So I think I got a lot of traffic from that.
Yeah. It's a different audience, kind of like comparing that to Instructables. I always post the video on Instructables, but not a lot of people who read my Instructables watch the video. They just read the Instructable. So I guess it's a different audience.
Yeah.
I wonder if Instagram is the least efficient place to post this stuff now. I mean,
nowadays I would say yes.
It's feeling less and less relevant and less helpful. I mean, it's nice to connect with people and still get feedback at times, but as far as growth goes, my growth on Instagram has been flatlined for almost 2 years now. I do not have any more followers. Actually, I have about 3 more followers because I started dipping into the BMX pool, but that's about it. And I'm not seeing any fluctuations. I'm not seeing any growth. It's mainly just kind of like going through the motion. It has not been really helpful at all.
Yeah, I've gotten 43 new followers in the last 6 months.
Still a lot more than I've had in the last 3 years.
I, not to discredit Instagram,
And you
because the
post a lot.
community,
Yeah.
yeah, the community is unparalleled to any other platform out there. It really is. But in terms of like finding a new audience, no, like Instagram's not it anymore.
And conversion to other platforms is difficult
Yeah.
since you can't put hyperlinks in anything except your profile practically.
Hmm.
And then what
I
your
would love to.
stories, unless you're at a certain threshold, right?
I would love to see how much Facebook, if at all, is throttling anything from Instagram.
I don't know. My Facebook page has gotten even less traction, and so I've stopped posting to my company, quote unquote company Facebook page, just because it seemed redundant. So I just post to my personal page, which apparently I don't go on Facebook anymore. I really don't. And so now that I've turned stuff on, people have started like looking at my stuff. It's like, oh hey, you're alive. Haven't seen you post anything in like a year. Yeah, it's because I'm not on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, which is kind of a conundrum because
It's the same.
Facebook owns Instagram, so it's not really that different. But
Yeah.
One
yeah,
thing that
and I'm on TikTok too. TikTok, again, different audience. Like TikTok, my profile exploded when I first started uploading stuff to TikTok. A lot of it's to do with Ninjago, but it's again that conversion really isn't there, and there's no community on TikTok, like none. It's just about consuming content. It's not about like community building or anything like that. It's just about consuming content, swipe, consume, 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 and that's it. So different audience, but much larger audience. Much larger audience.
the one thing that I did this last week that I think has made a difference in some things is that I redid my website and kind of like realigned some of my ad stuff, and I'm getting better traffic to my website now. So anything that I do, I'm pointing everything through my website now. I'm not going to be depending on, or trying not to depend on Facebook or Instagram to kind of push any growth. I'm still dependent a little bit on YouTube, but I have actual things that I'm selling on my website. So I think that my return would be higher going that route as opposed to just depending on
Right.
the others from now on.
You get the ad exposure from the Google ads, and then
Yep.
your embedded YouTube video, and then
I got the Amazon Associate
Yep.
links up
Mhm.
if I don't get kicked out of the program again, and yeah.
Yeah, see, and I'm trying to do that. I'm building a website right now because by the time this video launches, I want to have a website that has all of this stuff, available for people that are interested, and just to have a website because I haven't had a website up until this point.
Just try to keep it simple. It's hard to manage if you try to make it too complex.
What do you use for your website builder? Like, how do you do it?
I use WordPress.
WordPress?
Yeah, but I mean, I used to build websites for a living, so I'm used to going into the code and modifying stuff still.
yeah. Now, there's something to be said for the simplicity of like a Squarespace kind of thing too. If you're not wanting to dive in, I used to be more against that than I am now. But
I would do it if I was willing to put out the money for it right now.
yeah, it's expensive. You're paying for what you
I
get.
found a free theme that offered exactly what I wanted to keep it somewhat
Yeah.
simple, because I know that people don't really go beyond the main page much.
Mhm.
So I made most of my investment there, with a link to my latest YouTube video, the most recent ones under that, a link to the store for shirts and stuff, and that's really about it. I have other pages up, but I know that they don't get hit very often.
Yeah, I've been building mine on Squarespace, and I haven't pulled the plug on it yet because I don't know why, but it's hard. It's hard to spend money on something that you can get for free if you just put in a little more work.
Yeah.
You know what? I would
But I don't
consider.
know if I have time to put in the little more work.
No, I would
So-
consider your website a little bit different, because I think you should, in a lot of ways, consider a storefront. I mean, I know that at some point you do want to sell things like tangible items.
Yeah.
So I think something like Squarespace is going to make that process easier for you. So consider it an infrastructure investment.
Mm.
Just
That's
get
how
it
I
done.
look at
Get it
all
done
of
though.
my purchases.
But I mean, the fact that your website is not done right now is you're potentially leaving money on the table, simply because the amount of traffic that your website could potentially get just from simply your people following you, starting to search for your name in the Google ranks and stuff.
Mhm.
That's money on the table.
Yeah, I think my biggest hang up now is the fact that I'm not good at photography. Videography, I'm okay. Photography, terrible.
Same
And
concept.
I need to figure out how to get the right pictures, for like the banner and things like that to be able to have a good flow for my website. And I'm stuck I'm stuck on that.
And
Cuz I
also,
don't want to
yeah,
use just stock stuff cuz it's
yeah.
stock and it's not me. And considering my stuff is so weird and niche and different, if you had the stock stuff would stand out and distract from all the other stuff. So I got to figure that out.
It might not be a bad idea, like to put some sort of watermark or something in the corner with your logo or a URL or something
Oh,
there,
that's
so
so
that
smart.
it's sort of in the picture. You know,
Where were
Do
you
you,
4 hours ago?
I'm
do you
always here. You
guys
just
I
gotta
know.
contact me.
I just need to jump on Minecraft and be like, hey, Wes.
Yeah.
do you guys do you guys know if, and I've never tested this, I think we should look into it. When you upload a picture to social media, whether it's Reddit, Instagram, or whatever, if it destroys the metadata.
I edit all of my pictures and export them for web, which doesn't have any metadata on it. I don't do legacy because I don't want metadata because it's pointless. And it can be used in nefarious ways and all that other kind of stuff. So I don't worry about that because I always manipulate everything before I put it out anyway.
I was talking more about metadata, just tagging it with the owner, though.
Oh, doing that.
I don't think it contains that.
I
But
don't
could be
know.
wrong.
I know in Photoshop you can set it up.
I didn't. The reason why I didn't put too much into the picture that I posted today on Reddit with like watermarks and things like
Yeah,
that because
it was
I had
sort of
thought
off
about
the
that.
cuff kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's also the fact that it's not a very good picture.
I
It's not
disagree.
something that somebody would want to steal. Because going through forums and
Well,
like trying to figure out the dimensions and everything like that of like the best quality to use for Reddit and whatnot, the one thing that comes up a lot is make sure you have crappy pictures so that people don't try and steal them.
Well, my point was not to prevent theft of it, but just to provide additional context and more information in just the image. So, like, you would have your logo or onceuponaworkbench.com or slash
Yeah,
That's why you're
that's
so
it.
much smarter than
slash
I am, Wes.
slash
Brand.
once upon a workbench. You can make your own subreddit and people could track it there. That
At this point, you should probably look into making your own subreddit, and then you make your own rules. The hell
boom.
with everybody else.
Nope.
Yeah. No need for Imgur. Just post here. Yeah, and that's stuff that's all stuff that I need to do. More and more stuff that I need to do.
Right,
This
that's
is why.
Come on,
This
Donovan,
is
you
why
got
all
nothing
of
but
this
time.
is like grown beyond my capacity for being able to do everything that I need to do to make this work.
Just
So,
take it one step at a time.
I know. I'm like, all right, if I do all of this myself, I'll put out the video in 5 months.
What we should have like some sort of pact or, for the lack of a better word, where like every video we come out with, like we'll all work on making the promotion of your video the best that we can, our powers combined for that post, and then with the same agreement that we all do the same for each other's, right? So not
Done.
only, you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
Hands in.
rising tide raises all ships, right? So,
Yep.
And like on that note, I have literally written a script for a video that I want to do for Instagram right when this video drops saying, Instagram, I need your help. And laying out If you know of a blog post that you think that this could work, please share this with them. If you know this, or if you know somebody that knows somebody, whatever, trying to use the connections of my connections to be able to disseminate this rather than trying to do everything myself, because I am one person and this is too much. So I literally have the script ready to go for me to sit down to do exactly that, to gather the masses, to try and help promote the heck out of this thing. So I'm with you on that. The other stuff, you're too smart for me, man.
Have you guys, and I haven't thought much about this in a long time because I don't think it's in the cards for me much anymore, but have you guys given much thought to the number that you need in order to take on to doing this more full time, or to be able to hire on help?
I know that exact number.
Do you?
Good.
Yeah.
I haven't considered it, but I don't know where I would need to be.
I need to be bringing $1,953.69 in a month from video and or other stuff to be able to bring on help. Or to do this full time. Either way. That's the number.
What was the number?
Wait, no, not one. That's
seems low.
Every $3,768.
We don't really need to know the exact number for you.
Okay, that's what you were getting at.
No, I just making sure that you know it for yourself. Yeah. I don't need to be broadcasting your financial information or financial needs, but
no. It's just the number that I figured. Okay, this is where I need to be to attain to bring on help. Not that I know that there would be much help, like in the neighborhood.
Right.
See, my plan is just to depend on child labor.
Yeah. My child labor is very easily distracted, so it's hard to be dependent on that.
I found out that through your taxes, you can list your kid as an employee. So you could give them a small wage that's less than minimum wage and then write it off as an employer.
Really?
Yep.
The more you know. Dun, dun.
So my son's going to have a W-2 at 11.
What about an intern or an apprentice? See, I had thought of that, but I don't know where I would find one. Because the thing about my stuff, again, going back to that weirdly niche, is the fact that it's like, for someone to want to do this, they have to be invested in it. Not for like the money or something, but because of the work that we're doing. And it's hard to find somebody that's weird like me or like us, however you want to put it.
No, we're people like us are all over the place. You just got to look in some basements.
West. Literally sitting in a basement.
I think you're selling it short. I think there's a lot of people that would want to be part of it. But I think there's you're also talking about potentially inviting somebody into your home to help you with this stuff, or remotely, somebody that has to have their own equipment because you're probably not going to be providing it. There's a lot of other things that you would have to kind of plan ahead for if you want somebody to do this as a type of internship, or maybe on a short-term basis.
Yeah. See, Derek has been an amazing help on all of this so far, because he's spent a couple weekends. Square Splinter.
Okay.
He's spent a couple weekends down here, and he's coming down again this weekend to help on this out. And I wish there was a way that I could I mean, he has a job, he has a family, all that other kind of stuff. But I'm like, man, I wish I could just have you here, all the time helping me. Can you imagine how much I'd get done?
But maybe that is the answer: is making it a more community effort, and then figuring out compensation in different ways. There's a lot of different solutions to this
sweat
problem.
Equity kind of thing.
Yeah. And if you're really thinking about growing as a company, you have to kind of think, a little bit more as a company and not just somebody with a YouTube channel, but really thinking as a brand.
Yeah, that's a lot of hard conversations I've had to have with myself lately and my wife. I
have an umbrella company that Geek Builder sits under that I've had plans for 5 years to have other people kind of like work under. My brother, actually, both of my brother-in-laws um, are part of that plan. Although one probably not much anymore, but the other one that you guys have met, yes.
Yeah. See, even my brother, like, he works for my dad, and my dad's retiring at the end of this month, and so he's got to find something, and I'm like, man, I wish I was at a point where I could bring him on and he could just work with me and for me. Man, I don't know if it's what he wants to do, because he's still in school, and whatnot.
Is he older or younger than you?
Younger?
Oh, he doesn't get a vote then. Just tell him.
Just guess what? I have your solution. May not be the one you want, but it is a solution. He also lives like way far away, and they just got pregnant with their third kid. Congratulations, Seth. And so his priorities, I know, are elsewhere. So it probably wouldn't work. But still, that desire is there. It's just like, hey, I want you to be a part of this. Because in my own mind, I'm like, this is so cool. Like, what I'm doing, I think, is the coolest thing ever. And I just want other people to be part of it. It may not be the coolest thing ever. It may just be in my head. But
Well,
regardless.
once you're ready to put a feeler out there for help, I think you might be surprised with some of the response you might get.
If I lived closer, I'd be there.
No, I know. I don't doubt it. If we weren't in a pandemic right now, I'm
That
sure
too.
you'd be
That
here.
adds an additional monkey wrench.
I'd have a functional laser cutter.
Yes.
That would
you
be. No, I don't doubt it. It's just circumstance is.
Yeah.
It's all you have to work with,
Mm-hmm.
and it's what I have to work with right now. My circumstance is, I'm a lone wolf howling in a mountain that's about ready to run me over. That was a terrible analogy, but you get my point.
Well, either way, I'm happy for your Reddit success.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Exciting.
Thank you. It was completely unexpected.
It usually is with Reddit.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
The Reddit gods are more temperamental than the YouTube algorithm.
Oh yes.
And if I can just draw some of that luck or karma, whatever you want to call it, pun intended, for when this video comes out, then I'll be doing okay. I'll be doing all right.
So what else is going on? Are we ready to start geeking out? I don't even know what time we're at right now for.
I would say it's good. Geeking out. Well, I saw a new movie the last weekend. No, that's not true. There's no new movies.
There is.
It could be new to you.
There's like one new movie out that everybody's talking about.
Is there?
What movie is that?
Hamilton.
Ugh, I have no experience.
Oh.
I have no interest. So yeah.
So you didn't really see a new movie?
No, I didn't. I was pretending I was a year ago, where that was an actual possibility. I'm excited for the upcoming MCU stuff that was supposed to be out already. There's like a lot of teasing as far as X-Men and Fantastic Four inclusion and all that stuff into the MCU proper. So I don't know. Some people were over it.
There's got to
I'm
be
still
a
interested.
threshold.
There should
got to be a threshold where it's too much.
Probably. But I'm not there yet.
Because if you take Infinity War,
Yep.
plus X-Men,
Right.
plus like what is that on screen? It's chaos. It's Ready Player One. That's
like
what it is.
It's like 80 10-second vignettes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, that would break so many people's brains. What is happening? I don't know. We have to come back and watch it again. Is that what they wanted us to do the whole time? Maybe.
No, they'll just break it into like 4 parts.
Oh, I heard that's what they're doing with the Snyder Cut, is breaking it into a 6-part miniseries.
Really?
Instead of a 4-hour movie.
I heard that too.
Interesting.
Can't geek out about it because that's like, not as close as I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to separate it on a timeline that's long enough so that it extends past any free trial period.
Ah,
That's
And
true.
that might be the bigger reason why
that's
they're
terrible.
breaking it apart. They won't be able to monetize it the same way if they
See,
just do it in one block.
that was my catch with The Mandalorian, because I was so not gonna do Disney Plus. I'm like, nope, not gonna do it. We're just gonna wait until the entire season of The Mandalorian is out. We'll sign up for Disney Plus. We'll get the free month. We'll binge watch The Mandalorian, watch a couple other things. No, that we have Disney Plus. They're probably upstairs right now watching Disney Plus. Like we have. Although seriously, I hate. Yes, they're evil and whatever, but we've been watching Milo Murphy's Law, and it's a cartoon that was created by the same guys that did Phineas and Ferb, and Phineas and Ferb is like
Oh, it's
one of
super
the
amazing.
perfect cartoons.
It is.
I've never seen
Ever.
it.
It's amazing, and Milo Murphy's Law is amazing, and they integrate Phineas and Ferb into Milo Murphy's Law, and there's a new movie for Phineas and Ferb coming out like in a week
What?
called Candace versus the Universe,
Hmm.
and it's so cool. I'm like a grown man geeking out about this kids cartoon because it's so cool. Ah, dang you, Disney.
I don't even know what you were saying in those sentences.
That's all right. I blame my parents. My parents cursed me from birth because my name is from a Disney movie, and so I'm destined to have it in my life for them. But thank you, mom and dad. I guess that's what I'm geeking out about. Milo Murphy's Law and Phineas and Ferb and the new movie that's coming out.
I'm geeking out about a new game that I'm playing, although it's not new to people that have already played it, I guess. I've been playing Fallout 4. I'm only about 40 minutes into the game, but I'm loving it. It's kind of creepy and weirdly relevant at the moment. People complaining about having to be put in quarantine or like in isolation amidst a
Oh, that's right.
yeah. The intro the intro is really interesting because it takes place in a kind of like an alternate reality, as if the bombs never dropped during World War II, but they eventually end up dropping anyways, like several, like 50 years later, after this immense period of growth. And it's really, really cool. I've been a follower of the franchise for a long time, and I love telling the story because I was at the launch party for Fallout 2 when it came out. I was, partying with the developers, and that was a really fun experience. So now I'm dumping time into that.
I also started. I downloaded Half-Life Alex, for my Oculus over the weekend and played that for a little while. It's fun. It's really cool. I haven't done a deep dive.
So it's not mind blowing. It's fun. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know whether to be disappointed by that or not.
I've never been the biggest Half-Life fan, anyways. So I don't know.
Okay.
I'm dying to try that out when I get my my VR set, which I'll hopefully have in the next 3 or 4 months.
If it was in the Portalverse, then I would be more excited.
Yeah.
I was so excited for that because I remember playing Half-Life 2. And I'm not into horror movies, but I've watched a few of them, and they never really, there's the jump scares where the loud noise kind of scares you, but I've never been emotionally scared during a horror movie. But going through the complex and the apartments in Half-Life 2 was freaking terrifying. I'm like, this is a video game. What is going on with me right now? I'm like, yeah. I was like, if you can turn that experience into a VR experience, I'm like, holy crap. You've got gold gaming experience right here.
The end of Half-Life 2 is probably one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
My wife, we need to talk about this because my wife and I were talking about video game endings because I was talking about being a kid and being like having this existential crisis when I beat Link's Awakening for the first time, and all the implications that came from the end of that game and how they are still with me to this day. And she's like, "What are you talking about?" We should have this discussion later.
I like this
video
one.
game endings.
Yeah, I've got one
Yeah.
for that. Yep.
All right,
Definitely.
we'll table that. So, yeah, don't let us forget that we need
Okay.
to talk about that at some point. All right, so we would love to hear from all of you. You can go and check out our website, makinggeeks.com. On the contact page, you could talk to us or at least send us a message directly, and on the homepage of the site, which is probably going to be redone within the next month, hopefully. But as of right now, you could listen to all of our, or find all of our past episodes right there on the homepage on makinggeeks.com.
And if you want to contact us individually, we're all on social media. We're all on Instagram. That's the main place where you can get a hold of us, aside from our individual websites, whether they're live or not. So if you want to find out all the stuff that Sean is working on, you can find him over at Geek Builders. If you want to see all the stuff that Wes is working on, he's at Geek Smithing. Josh, may he be enjoying his time away from us, is at Josh_make stuff. I'm at Once Upon a Workbench. So come check us out.
And we'd like to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/makinggeeks for helping us keep the lights on here at the show with their contributions every time we release a new episode, including our top patrons, Jordan Rimple and Square Splinter and Clinton. You guys are all worthy of the shout out, especially our top patron, Square Splinter. You get 2. So thank you so much.
And this is the point where Josh, in his melodious baritone voice, would come on here and tell everybody that's in the live chat, thanks for hanging out with us, and to let you know that we do this thing live on YouTube every Thursday at 8:30 Central. Translate that to wherever time zone you're in. And you can find us on your podcast player of choice, usually on Fridays or Saturdays.
And from all of us,
To all of you.
Have a fantastic week.
I think we nailed that.
Yeah.
absolutely.